Hello, and welcome to the StoryHaven channel. Before we dive into today's tale, please take a quiet moment for yourself. If, today, you find yourself feeling a profound sense of loneliness, if it seems as though the world has gently drifted away from your immediate experience, then perhaps this narrative has found its way to you at precisely the right moment. It's a common misconception that when God allows us to feel lonely, He is actively removing people from our lives. Yet, perhaps loneliness isn't meant to be a loss at all. Perhaps it is, instead, a subtle invitation from God, teaching our hearts to embrace and express love in new, more expansive ways. I invite you to listen with an open heart and discover what unfolds when the sting of loneliness gradually blossoms into the warmth of kindness. Long, long ago, nestled within a small, serene village surrounded by emerald green fields and the joyful echoes of children's laughter, there lived an elderly woman named Anaya. Her humble home was simple and visibly aged by time, yet it consistently radiated a comforting warmth. This wasn't due to abundant possessions, but rather because it was a sanctuary where love genuinely resided. Each morning, well before the first rays of sunlight began to stretch across the village, Anaya would meticulously light a small oil lamp, then fold her hands in silent prayer before commencing her daily cooking. Her culinary efforts were never solely for herself. She prepared food for anyone and everyone who might be in need of a nourishing, warm meal. Soon enough, the village children, their laughter trailing behind them, would excitedly race to her doorstep. "Grandmother, what delicious meal have you prepared for us today?" they would chime. Anaya would offer a gentle smile. Her hands, though weathered and rough from years of tireless work, remained tender as she carefully served each spoonful of food, each bowl of steaming soup, as if pouring her entire heart into every single portion. Even the quiet stray dog that often rested outside her door waited with patient expectation, knowing intuitively that kindness always found a generous welcome at Anaya's home. One day, her son, Rohan, returned from the bustling city. He observed his mother toiling endlessly, cooking, cleaning, and attending to one person after another, her work seemingly without end. A deep sigh escaped him, his voice heavy with a mix of worry and palpable exhaustion. He gently reminded her that she was now advanced in years, suggesting that perhaps no one truly appreciated her efforts, and that she was merely expending her precious time and diminishing strength on others who wouldn't truly reciprocate. Anaya met her son's gaze with eyes full of tenderness. She did not engage in argument or allow herself to become angry. Instead, she simply stated that not every action we undertake demands a logical reason. Some things, she explained, we do simply because if we were to cease doing them, our very souls would begin to wither and dry up. She confided in him that seeing others smile after enjoying her food brought her an unparalleled sense of closeness to God. That very evening, a humble beggar came knocking at her door. Anaya graciously welcomed him inside, offered him a warm, satisfying meal, and listened patiently and quietly as he recounted stories of his life. Before departing, the beggar folded his hands in a gesture of deep respect and offered a blessing, proclaiming that her boundless kindness would unfailingly return to her precisely when she needed it most. Rohan, who had been standing nearby, overheard the entire exchange but gave it little thought, dismissing it as a common blessing. He remained unaware that those seemingly simple words had subtly, yet profoundly, planted a transformative seed within the tapestry of their lives. Months later, Rohan had returned to the city, once again becoming consumed by the relentless demands of his work and responsibilities. One busy afternoon, while he was deeply engrossed in stacks of papers and an endless succession of meetings, a poor, dust-covered man unexpectedly entered his office. The man urgently inquired if he was Anaya's son, then, without preamble, delivered the alarming news that his mother was gravely ill and that he needed to return home immediately. Rohan's heart constricted with a sudden, painful tightness. Without a second thought, he abandoned everything, his papers, his meetings, his city life, and rushed back to the village with frantic haste. Upon his arrival, the scene that greeted him rendered him utterly speechless. Children were gathered by his mother's bedside, gently fanning her with leafy branches. Women from the village arrived bearing steaming bowls of warm soup, meticulously prepared. Outside, men stood in quiet reverence, their heads bowed in prayer. These were the very same individuals his mother had so selflessly fed and cared for over the years, never once expecting anything in return. Rohan sank down beside her, gently clasped her frail hand, and through his own tears, anxiously asked if she was going to be all right. Anaya offered a weak smile and softly reassured him that she was indeed fine, explaining that the love she had so generously given away was now, in her time of need, diligently taking care of her. In that profound moment, Rohan finally understood with absolute clarity that his mother had never, not truly, been alone. The boundless love she had shared with the world had, in fact, become her own impregnable shelter. After Anaya slowly regained her strength and recovered, Rohan gently insisted that she could no longer continue to live alone and earnestly asked her to come and reside with him in the city. She gazed around her small, beloved kitchen and then at the familiar, cherished faces gathered outside, before slowly nodding her assent, not wanting anyone to harbor worries for her well-being ever again. On the day she departed, the entire village convened to bid her a tearful farewell. Children waved their small hands through glistening eyes, and Anaya, in turn, folded her own hands in a gesture of goodbye, her smile bravely masking her profound sadness. Life in the bustling city proved to be starkly different. The days stretched long and quiet, filled with an unfamiliar stillness. There were no joyful children racing into the house, no bursts of laughter echoing from outside the door, only towering walls and hollow, empty echoes. Rohan keenly observed the profound silence that had settled in his mother's eyes. One afternoon, he gently told her he wished to take her to a special place. They eventually stopped in front of a grand building adorned with a sign that clearly indicated it was a home for orphaned children. Inside, the vibrant sounds of children playing, eating, and laughing together filled the air. Rohan explained that he had already spoken with the manager and arranged for his mother to help there, cooking nutritious meals, sharing comforting stories, and simply caring for the children. He added, with deep sincerity, that when she eventually grew tired, the staff and children would lovingly care for her in return. Anaya's eyes welled up with tears. She whispered, her voice choked with emotion, that at long last, her son truly understood the depth of her heart. As she gently handed a bowl of warm food to a small orphan girl, she experienced a profound realization. God had never truly taken love away from her. He had only tenderly guided it to precisely where it was most desperately needed. In that sacred moment, her heart, once quieted, felt wonderfully full once again. This poignant story serves as a powerful reminder that when God allows us to experience loneliness, He is not inflicting punishment. Rather, He is preparing us for something greater. He intentionally quiets the familiar sounds and distractions of our lives so that we may finally hear what authentic love truly sounds like. He gently removes familiar faces from our immediate circle so we can more clearly recognize and embrace the new ones He sends into our path. When love is offered with a pure and sincere heart, it possesses an eternal quality. It never simply disappears. Instead, it unfailingly returns, often in novel ways, through unexpected individuals, and at precise moments we could never possibly plan or anticipate. Thank you for listening to today's story with StoryHaven. If this narrative resonated with your heart, please consider sharing it with someone who might find solace or inspiration in its message, and remember to follow StoryHaven for more healing stories to come.